From the BBC World Service, in association with ABC and All India Radio, this is Stumped.
Hello and welcome to Stumped, your intercontinental hit of news, features and debate from the quirky world of cricket. I'm Charu Sharma for All India Radio, once again home in Bangalore, where we're still confused about this whole new COVID variant. We've got a curfew till 10 p.m. every night on the weekdays, and the weekends are all locked out. So, well, not happy going still. Not happy with the Indian team either. What with this churn at the top, and they've just forgotten how to win in South Africa.
Nice to have you doing the show there, Charu, and it's Jim Maxwell in Sydney. And you can't really tell when someone's tested positive to COVID, but I have, and I'm feeling fine. So I hope that the show continues without there being too many hiccups, unlike the English team, which have had the most massive hiccup, and hopefully the women can save them from the humiliation that they suffered at the hands of Australia in the last 6 weeks.
Hi, Jim, Charu. Thank you very much for having me. I'm Nikesh Rughani. I'm in Leicester, in the heart of England, and both of you guys have mentioned India and England there. As a British Indian, I'm just about getting my sleep patterns back in order after the men's Ashes and the India versus South Africa Test series. And as I say, as a British Indian, watching England get thumped down and watching India lose the series in South Africa, I'm not in a good place at the moment. But apart from that, all good.
Well, thanks for joining us, Nikesh. Good to have you. Big shoes to fill, of course, but we're happy to have your thoughts. But let's start this week with the big news from India. So Virat Kohli has stepped down as the Test captain of India. Not without distinguishing himself, though, because he played 68 Test matches as captain and won 40 of them, giving him the winningest ever win percentage in Indian Test cricket history. And of course, that makes him the fourth winningest captain in the history of Test cricket itself. Fabulous record. Why did he leave? We'll get to hear more of that. Now, in a statement on social media, he said, and I quote, "It's been 7 years of hard work, toil, and relentless perseverance every day to take the team in the right direction. Everything has come to a halt at some time. I've always believed in giving 120%. And if I can't do that, I know it's not the right thing to do. I cannot be dishonest to my team." So a pouring of some emotion there by the Indian captain. Jim, Nikesh, we will discuss our reactions to the news shortly. But first, let's go to Kolkata, where a good friend of mine is joining us, the former Test cricketer and now national selector, and of course the president, let's not forget, of the Indian Cricketers Association, Ashok Malhotra. Ashok, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
What is your reaction to Kohli stepping down? And do you think that all things considered, it was the right decision at the right time?
I think Kohli has been simmering. He's been upset, he's angry, and he has been simmering since he has been removed as a ODI captain. You know, he's been very, very upset because he wanted to captain a ODI and Test side. So once he was removed as a ODI captain, and after what he probably gave a press statement or press interview where he contradicted the BCCI president and a former Test captain. So he knew his days are numbered. So I would honestly believe that he jumped before he was pushed. So that is my thinking, because we know his Test record as a captain is unbelievable. His Test averages he's a legendary batsman of Indian cricket, and all in all a wonderful ambassador of the game. And believe you me, whatever cricket we have seen after him, especially the ODIs, that aggression, that positive intent, and the body language of the team is not the same. So he will be missed. But the fact is, somewhere along the line, I believe he is still upset. He's angry. Somebody has to put a hand around his shoulder and tell him, calm down. We need you. India needs you. Indian cricket needs you.
You know, Ashok, many people probably agree with you in that he seems to have left before somebody pushed him out, like he was pushed out of the ODI captaincy. And that was to be my next question. But I'll skip forward to, what about the whole process of communication? Because he claimed, of course, that the board didn't quite communicate with him and just sort of put it out in the media there an hour and a half, or was it a day and a half before they were supposed to go to South Africa? And why is it so difficult for the Indian captain, the chief of the cricket board, and perhaps the selectors to just have a chat about, you know, how should we take this whole thing forward? Because surely he's one of the biggest constituents of the game at this point of time in India.
You're spot on, Charu. But the fact is, we don't know what happened behind the scenes. We really don't know whether he was asked to quit 2020 T20 captaincy, or was he told not to quit T20 captaincy. Now it is his word against the board president, who incidentally is another legendary captain of the Indian team. And now with the chief of selectors chipping in, I don't know whether he wanted to say things or he was told to say things. We would not know. But the fact is, things are not hunky dory between Virat and the BCCI. And he knows BCCI. We all know BCCI is an all-powerful body. They never liked somebody who gets sometimes bigger than the BCCI. The fact that is really a fact. And Virat was calling shots. I know he's very hurt now, treated very shabbily, but he didn't treat Anil Kumble nicely. So it goes around. So somewhere along the line, I know he's very upset. Because he thought he's all powerful, but it is not to be. Because captains come, captains go, players come, players go, but BCCI remains there. So that is I would say that is what he learned the hard way, if I may say. But the fact is, he's still hurt, he's still simmering, he's still very angry. Although he's not saying, but his body language is saying it all. Even in the huddle, he is not in the middle of it. He is outside the huddle. And I don't think he has been of any help to KL Rahul the way MS Dhoni was to Virat Kohli.
Well, that's a shame. And I'm also disappointed because when Saurav Ganguly was captain, he was certainly seeking better relationships with the board at that point of time. And for him now to go back to what you suggest are the ways of the board, that is a touch disappointing. But I'm sure you are in touch with lots of other players. What is the general thought among the Indian cricket players, or the former players that you may be in touch with?
See, everybody's upset the way it has been, the whole melodrama, the way it appeared, because it could have been handled much better. We understand because probably board didn't want him to be the ODI captain. They didn't want two white ball captain. We would not know. But the moment he resigned a T20 captain, he sounded his death knell, as a skipper. So I think he knew writing was on the wall. And ODI captain, when he was removed, all of us, Charu including you have been in the media, everybody knew that he was going to be sacked as ODI captain, except for Virat, who refused to read the writing. Everybody else could read the writing of the wall. And this time, what he has done is he has probably, before he could be sacked, he has resigned. But as I'm saying again and again, he's very upset. Most of the cricketers around the country are of the opinion that some of them say probably he was too high-handed. Somebody say he probably missing Ravi Shastri. So we would not know. But the fact is, it could have been handled in a much, much better way. The only problem is with Virat going out. The entire thinking, entire body language, entire mental state of the team has totally changed, because we have got two gentlemen who leading the team after Virat, both Rahuls. And for me, believe you me, Charu, gentlemen, either they're dead or they don't play cricket.
Ashok, it's Jim Maxwell from Sydney. And I'm not surprised to hear what you say. Self-interest is always the favourite. And when you've got big personalities, you're going to have leadership crises. And the crisis you might get out of this is that Kohli says, I've had enough in another year's time and I'm not going to play anymore. Are you concerned about his future in the Indian team as a result of all this dispute between number one player and the BCCI?
I would say so. If I would be in the board president's place, I would put my hand around his shoulder and tell him to calm down. Because Indian team needs Indian cricket needs Virat Kohli. He has a good 3-4 years still with him. Where he can he might be his best years are just before him. So I would say so. What you said, the way he's upset. He's a guy with a great ego. Because Indian cricketers, they have they're larger than life. They have got huge egos. And when you do something like that, then they can do anything. But I hope he does not do that for the sake of Indian cricket, for his own sake. He does not do that but the way he has left his captaincy, anything is possible. And the way he played the last ODI, because he's such a good player, he can score 50s in his sleep. He's such a good player. He's a legendary batter. But the way he went around, because the running between the wickets, turning ones into twos, twos into threes, that aggression was totally missing. And his body language says that he is not in thick of things as of now. Even in the hurdle they had, he was not inside the hurdle. He was outside the hurdle. So that shows that he is still very upset. And what you said, you have a point. We might see that happening. I hope not, but I pray not. But it can happen.
Because he hasn't scored an international century for 2 years. I mean, have we seen the best of him? And what's the legacy from here for what he has achieved for India and the carry on that's going to take place from this point? Because it looks a bit 50-50 as to what he will contribute by his influence as a batsman and a leadership force of some sort.
See, as a batsman, he still might deliver. But if you talk about being in the leadership group, I doubt it. Because I don't know. Because I've only seen one ODI where his body language is totally different. He's not a part of the think tank. He's not coming and suggesting anything to KL Rahul, because he's left KL Rahul on his own. So I don't know. And when you talk about his legacy, we all thought he'll reach Sachin Tendulkar's 100, the way he was going. But as you said, 2 years without 100, which is unimaginable to say the least. And definitely pressure is mounting on him. Because even when he scored the 50, it's a failure for somebody of the stature of Virat Kohli. So I think we might still see him. But maybe at his best, I would not know. Or maybe if... sometimes maybe somebody like MS Dhoni wraps his arm around him and tells him, okay, come on, Bhagat, you will get on with the game. You are too good a player to, get miffed with the BCCI and lose your place, lose your batting and everything. I think the only guy who can bail him out, bail Indian cricket out, bail Virat Kohli out is MS Dhoni.
Ashok, it's Nikesh here. Of course, we talk about the no century in 2 years, but lots of great moments as a skipper during that time, particularly in Test cricket as well. For you, what is your one standout memory, your one standout moment from Virat Kohli, the leader?
See, Virat Kohli, he's a leader, and what stands out is the way he took on the Aussies when he took on the captaincy after MS Dhoni resigned. He got back-to-back 200, and we were chasing 340, 350, and he kept going. And he started that legacy that we're going to win. We're going to, we are aggressive. We are positive. He has a little bit of an Aussie mentality, if I may say. We're never say never kind of a thing. And that rubbed on everybody and the fitness levels. If you look at this team, they are the fittest team ever for who has ever played for India. And that is the legacy of Virat Kohli, because he himself became so fit. He himself led from front. And the number of matches he won as a captain. And, he made us believe, plus playing those 4 fast bowlers on foreign lands and making India believe, the entire India, the billions of people believe that we can beat anybody in the world outside India, because India was supposed to be the winners in India, but outside we were sitting ducks. He turned everything around, and it is thanks to him. If Saurav told us how to look into the eye of the foreigners and fight with them, stand up to them, then Virat told us how to win. He started this legacy and led from front. And with his aggressive approach, positive approach, and which rubbed on everybody, not only the 15 who are playing, even the pipeline which we have, the people who are sitting on the bench, they come and immediately perform at top level. It is thanks to Virat Kohli.
And it's interesting you say there, I was just going to touch on that as well, the similarities between himself and Sourav Ganguly, the captain, as well. Lots of aggression. There's lots of similarities in the way they went about things and differences as well. And as you say, Kohli has taken that to another level. So massive shoes to fill for anybody coming in next. We've seen the white ball team's been handed over to Rohit Sharma. He will lead the white ball teams for the foreseeable future when he's fit again. In terms of the Test captaincy, would that be Rohit again? Is he too old? If not him, who will replace Virat Kohli?
I would say Rohit Sharma. He's an obvious choice. He is another one who demands respect, commands respect. And he also leads from front. He's calm and composed. Maybe he's not an aggressor, but he has his own kind of aggression. I would not like KL to take on the captaincy yet because he's too nice a guy. And whatever little we have seen in Test cricket and one-day cricket, he had gone missing during the match. So I would expect him. I heard somebody said Rishabh Pant. I think somebody said Rishabh Pant to improve his batting. I never heard anything like this before, that you make somebody captain to improve his batting. Let Rishabh Pant find his own feet. Let Rishabh Pant. He cannot play one knock and then disappear for 15, 20 matches and then come back and play one more blinder. So somewhere along the line, the only obvious choice as of now, maybe for a short term, for a year or 2 years, has to be Rohit Sharma.
Well, thanks, Ashok. Of course, tough times for India's former captain because no longer is he in this seat. And of course, if he's under the watchful eyes or the microscope of the selectors, then just, more pressure on him. Well, I hope he does continue playing for India. Ashok, thanks so much for joining us on Stumped.
Thank you.
That's all we've got time for on this week's Stumped on All India Radio. Don't forget, you can follow us on Twitter. We're at BBC WS Sport, and of course, use the hashtag BBC Stumped. And check us out on YouTube as well. Go to BBC World Service YouTube. My thanks to Jim Maxwell, to Nikesh Rughani. Thanks for joining us this week. And of course, to all of you for listening. Speak to you next week. Until then, goodbye.
From the BBC World Service, in association with ABC and All India Radio, this is Stumped.